I'd love for you just to share a little bit to kick us off about what plant medicine has done to you and the place that you, like the way that you see it fitting into the macro journey of someone's awakening.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, man. It's interesting to get your reflection on that, 5 years ago when we caught up, I was talking about that a lot then too, because it seems like I'm still talking about it a lot today. So it's a thing. It's a big part of my life. Yeah, and my relationship with plant medicine has just continued to deepen over the years. So, for those people who don't know me, I facilitate psilocybin mushrooms one-on-one in therapy and in group ceremonies and settings at various dosages. And yeah, I mean, where I see it fitting in terms of, expanding consciousness in individuals is, in my opinion, it's one of the most powerful tools to use to do that. And due to how powerful it is, also deserves a level of understanding, respect, and reverence before we, just decide to, I think, use it. Because we are ultimately taking a substance or a plant that is can drastically alter your mind and your perception. And I think that that is what we are really talking about when we say awakening. We're really talking about expanding our perception and our ability to perceive. And that's why any modality that helps with awakening is something that disrupts the status quo within the individual. It disrupts our current wiring, our current paradigms, our current beliefs and perceptions of the world. Because whilst our focus is on a particular limited view, it's difficult to be open to another view, And so, yeah, I mean, plant medicine is just so powerful, mushrooms specifically, so powerful in doing that. That's literally what's happening scientifically, biologically in your brain. Is your neural circuitry of defaults is being shut down so that you can have an expanded capacity to perceive, and other neural connections can form more easily than, when you are in a sober state. Your brain's more neuroplastic. Yeah.
It's okay if you don't, because I wouldn't expect you to, but do you know much more about the science behind how that happens? I'm just curious, because I don't.
Yeah, I do.
Love to hear.
So essentially, psilocybin, I'll just speak specifically to psilocybin mushrooms because that's what I serve, and others I know a little bit about, but not as much. So psilocybin mushrooms, the compound is an alkaloid called psilocybin. It's in, various types of mushrooms that grow naturally all over the world. That's what I love about it. The biggest joke about it is that where they most commonly grow is in cow patties. So if you want the key to the universe within, you've got to pick it up from the cow shed.
And I love how simultaneously, like, methane gas from cows, like a lot of people say, is like killing the planet. It's like the cow farts are killing the planet, but the cow shit is awakening the planet. That's a bit of a contrast.
Exactly. Yeah. Just don't eat the shit. I mean, probably wouldn't eat the shit, but yeah. So when you ingest that, your body converts the psilocybin into a compound called psilocin, and the psilocin then works through the serotonergic receptors in the brain, your serotonin system, and it binds to the 5-HT2A serotonin receptor in the brain. And essentially, those receptors are spread out across the brain. And so it's almost like this compound is activating, it's like putting something on top of your brain. It's like activating the different points. When you wear a TENS machine on a muscle, and the TENS machine is something that triggers the muscle in different points. It's kind of like that for your brain in a way. And it starts to switch off the default mode network, which also is spread out through the brain. in different parts. And the default mode network is the part of your brain that you're using most commonly to operate who you are as a human. Like how you know, you don't have to think about consciously think hard to remember what your name is, Ryan, and neither do I. And, you know, if you've gone to your office enough times, you know the way there, and you're not thinking about it on your drive there. You're just literally driving. You don't have to think consciously, how do I drink this glass of water? You know, it's all built into the defaults. And so what else is built into the defaults is all of your beliefs about yourself and the world, is all of your behavioral patterns and conditioned tendencies. And we know scientifically that most of those are created between the age of 0 and 7, when your brain is highly neuroplastic and you're like a sponge. And the reason it's important to understand all of that is because a lot of our conditioning is where we have created limits on ourselves, on our ability to, you know, give and receive love. And a lot of those things come from fears. Fears when a need wasn't met. And so we either shut ourselves off from that need and we try to suppress our need for that, or we create a behavior that is ineffective in meeting that. AKA, my mom didn't hug me when I'm younger, so now I'm just, a conditioned behavior is I just expect that people aren't going to love me, aren't going to give me affection. And so I push friendship away because it's too painful when I get rejected or feel abandoned, you know? Or the other compensatory strategy in that could be as simple as when I do let someone in, I then cling so tight and attach so tightly that it feels controlling for the other person, and I get anxious and scared that they're going to abandon me, and then they leave anyway because it just feels shitty for everyone involved. So consequently, really what I'm saying is every strategy that's created as a conditioned tendency, as a coping mechanism for a need not being met in a moment, attempts to meet the need some other way, but ultimately all they end up doing is pushing away the thing that we actually want, which is love, which is connection. So I hope that answered your question. But yeah, that's really the science behind a lot of it.
So the default, what was the specific?
Yes. So the default mode network is shutting down.
Mode network.
And then, and because imagine this, right? It's like you're then experiencing yourself without all of your defaults running you. And so you can almost have like a bird's eye view on yourself of who you truly are without your coping mechanisms, without your strategies, without your addictive patterns playing out. Stuff like that.
Man. Yeah, thanks for explaining that. It's really brilliant that you have that level of understanding of the science behind it. It's really cool. And as we know, it's like there's so much intelligence that can't be explained that goes into it simultaneously. And
for sure.
That it's just a miracle. Like some of the hardest plant medicine journeys I've had have been on mushrooms, and just the way in which the intelligence of that mushroom spirit, like, just, it's annoying that the way that this sounds is woo-woo, but it's just truth. The way that it coordinates a situation to support me to see my blind spots, my default modes, my default patterns,